Ngozi sat on the cold floor of her bedroom, still wearing her wedding gown. Her mascara had run down her face and her hands clutched her stomach as if she were trying to hold herself together. People always said a wedding day was supposed to be the happiest day of a woman's life. A wedding ring was meant to symbolize love, blessing, and divine favor. But for Ngozi, that ring had become a curse. She had believed that by taking what belonged to another woman, her own best friend, she would finally find happiness. She thought she could step into another person's destiny and wear it like a perfectly tailored dress. But some blessings are not meant to be stolen. And the price she paid for trying to steal one destroyed her life. Years earlier, Ngozi and Ada had been inseparable. They moved through life like sisters, sharing everything: laughter, secrets, dreams, and struggles. On sunny afternoons, they would wander through the lively market together, teasing each other like children. Ada was warm, cheerful, and full of light. People were naturally drawn to her kindness and energy. Ngozi loved her deeply, but somewhere in the quiet corners of her heart, something darker had begun to grow. A small seed of jealousy. At first, it was barely noticeable, but slowly it began to take root. One evening, everything changed. Ngozi and Ada attended a lively party filled with music, dancing, and laughter. As they stood by the refreshment table chatting, a well-dressed young man approached them. His name was Chinedu. He had come specifically to meet Ada. From the moment they began talking, it was clear that something special was happening between them. Their conversation flowed easily and the connection between them was unmistakable. Ngozi watched quietly from the side as the two laughed together. Something twisted painfully inside her chest. That night, she realized she was no longer just watching Ada's happiness. She was envying it. Over the next few months, Chinedu and Ada's relationship blossomed. He was attentive and thoughtful. He remembered small things Ada mentioned, surprised her with flowers, and spoke to her with genuine affection. Everyone could see that he loved her deeply, including Ngozi. And every time she witnessed their happiness, the jealousy inside her grew stronger. What once had been admiration slowly transformed into bitterness. She began asking herself the same painful question over and over. Why her? Why did Ada always seem to receive the blessings Ngozi believed she deserved? 6 months later, Ada excitedly called Ngozi to meet her. When Ngozi arrived, she stretched out her hand, revealing a sparkling engagement ring. Chinedu had proposed. The joy on Ada's face was radiant. She spoke excitedly about the proposal, the wedding plans, and the life she was about to begin. Then, she asked Ngozi something that should have been an honor. She asked her to be the maid of honor. Ngozi smiled and accepted, but inside, something dark had already controlled her heart. Instead of celebrating her friend's happiness, she began to resent it. Not long afterward, Ngozi met an elderly woman at the market who claimed she could solve matters of the heart. The woman spoke of an old spiritual practitioner named Mama Zira, who lived in isolation at the edge of the village. According to the woman, Mama Zira possessed powerful charms capable of bending love and destiny. Ngozi had heard stories about her abilities with both fear and fascination. Most people avoided her, but jealousy can push people towards dangerous choices, and so Ngozi went looking for her. When she arrived at the isolated hut, Mama Zira seemed to already know why she had come. The old woman spoke bluntly. She accused Ngozi of wanting to take what belonged to another woman. At first, Ngozi tried to deny it, but eventually she admitted the truth. She wanted Chinedu. She wanted Ada's life. Mama Zira warned her that spiritual power always came with a price, but Ngozi was too consumed by desire to listen carefully. The old woman gave her a strange set of red waist beads and explained their power. If Ngozi wore them, the man she desired would become obsessed with her. His love would turn away from anyone else. But the warning was clear. The beads must never be removed. If they were ever taken off, the spiritual debt would be collected, and that debt could cost her everything. Despite the warning, Ngozi tied the beads around her waist. The moment she did, they burned against her skin, but she ignored the pain. The next time Ngozi saw Chinedu, something unsettling happened. The moment he laid eyes on her, his entire demeanor changed. He stared at her, as if seeing her for the first time. Within days, he abruptly ended his engagement to Ada. Soon afterward, he began pursuing Ngozi instead. At first, Ngozi convinced herself that everything was working perfectly. Within weeks, Chinedu proposed to her using the same ring he had once given Ada. Ngozi accepted. She believed she had finally won. But strange things began happening almost immediately. Chinedu's personality started to change. The warmth and affection he once showed Ada disappeared. His expressions became empty, and his behavior seemed unnatural, almost mechanical. He repeated words of love without emotion, like someone reciting lines without understanding them. At the same time, the beads around Ngozi's waist grew tighter and hotter. The skin beneath them became inflamed and infected. Soon, the pain was unbearable. But no matter how hard she tried, she could not remove them. Meanwhile, Chinedu seemed to lose pieces of himself. He forgot memories. He forgot people. Eventually, he even forgot Ada entirely. The man Ngozi had wanted so desperately was slowly turning into a hollow shell, and the curse around her waist continued to consume her. Desperate and terrified, Ngozi returned to the place where Mama Zira had lived. But the hut was gone. An old villager told her the truth. Mama Zira had died in a fire many years earlier. The hut had burned down decades ago. Ngozi realized then that she had not spoken to a living woman at all. She had made a bargain with something far darker. With nowhere else to turn, Ngozi went to Ada and confessed everything. Ada listened quietly as Ngozi admitted the jealousy, the betrayal, and the dark charm she had used to steal Chinedu. Though heartbroken, Ada forgave her, but forgiveness could not erase the spiritual debt Ngozi had created. Some choices cannot be undone by human mercy. Soon afterward, Chinedu suddenly left. When he walked out the door, the beads around Ngozi's waist finally loosened and fell to the floor. The pain vanished instantly, but the damage had already been done. The skin around her waist was permanently scarred. Chinedu was gone. Ada had rebuilt her life and found real happiness with someone else. And Ngozi was left alone with the consequences of her choices. Now, whenever she looks at the scar around her waist, she remembers the lesson she learned too late. Destiny cannot be stolen, and blessings taken through envy will never bring peace. Sometimes, the greatest punishment is not being denied what you want. Sometimes, the punishment is getting it, only to discover that it destroys you.
Thanks for watching. If you have thoughts, drop them in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon for more. Bye!